Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Tuesday, March 30th, 2021. Today I'm going to go over last night's men's and women's Elite 8 results and look ahead to tonight's Elite 8 games in each tournament. NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball spring training, look back on yesterday's games and look ahead to today's games. And today's the last day of MLB spring training for a couple of teams. Center field and right field rankings, the latest news and notes, and my best bet of the day. All right, we're going to start in college basketball because this is March. Well, it's only March today and tomorrow, which is crazy, but here we are. So we'll go over yesterday's Elite 8 games and look ahead to tonight's games, and same for the women's. All right. The Midwest Regional Final, Houston over Oregon State, 67-61 is Houston. Your 2-seed out of this region advances to the Final Four. Great run for the 12-seeded Oregon State. Houston is 28-3. Oregon State finishes at 20-13. Marcus Sasser led Houston in scoring with 20 points. And Maurice Callow had 13 for the Beavers. And in the South Region Elite 8, 1-seeded Baylor over 3-seeded Arkansas, 81-72. That's exactly how I had the South Region, amazingly enough. Baylor is 26-2. Arkansas is 25-7. Makio Teague had 22 for Baylor. And Devontae Davis had 14 and 6 boards for Arkansas. All right, 2 more games today. 7:15 on TBS, 6-seeded USC against 1-seeded Gonzaga in the West Regional Final. My projection for this game is Gonzaga 9.5 total 150. Meanwhile, FanDuel has this at Gonzaga 9 total 153.5. I'm taking the under at minus 116. I think the point spread's just about correct. I think that this game could be competitive, but 9 feels just right for me. I think this is an under game. I think both teams are going to step up their defenses. I think that's a very high total, so I'm going to go under 153.5. And at 9:57 on TBS, you have 11-seeded UCLA, 1-seeded Michigan in the East Regional Final. My projection is Michigan by 1, total 142. That accounts for the Isaiah Livers injury. And I still have Chris Smith's injury factored in this line because I had UCLA so highly rated before the season that I have to still account for that injury when I do my projections. And it is Michigan 6.5 total 135.5. I like both the over and UCLA, but I think UCLA is the better play. They've been very competitive in this tournament. Mick Cronin, I don't think, wants to get blown out. There's still no Isaiah Livers. I know Michigan's riding high, playing great basketball, but I'm going with UCLA plus the 6.5 at minus 106. And that the other reason why I'm taking the side, not the total, is because there's been a lot of unders in this tournament, and Michigan's been an under team in the tournament. So I'm going to go take the 6.5 with UCLA at minus 106. Will they win the game outright? Maybe. But I think that it will probably be Michigan, but I think this is a very close game. That will be a one-possession game either way. Alrighty then. Now we'll move over to the women's side of things, as we'll go over their Elite 8 games from yesterday. Look ahead to tonight's games. 1-seeded UConn over 2-seeded Baylor, 69-67 in the Riverwalk region. A lot of people thought that Baylor should have won this game because there was a questionable call at the end of the game, or a no call, as Dejane Carrington drew a lot of contact on her potential go-ahead shot for Baylor, but there was no foul called. A lot of people thought that that should have been a foul, but Nope, they don't call it. And Paige Beckers and UConn move on to the Final Four. Beckers had 28, and Carrington had 22 and 3 assists. A great season for Baylor comes to an end, and UConn advances to the Final Four. And I think this is their best shot to win a championship in a couple of years. That's because of Beckers. Because UConn hasn't had this stud players since Brianna Stewart. And they finally have one here with Beckers. And Beckers is going to be there another couple of years, which is crazy. And in the Mercado region, 3-seeded Arizona over 4-seeded Indiana, 66-53. Arizona, an unlikely team in the Final Four. They're 20-5. Indiana finishes at 21-6. Ari McDonald's been wonderful in the tournament. She had 33 and 11 and 4 for Arizona. Mackenzie Holmes had 20 for Indiana. All right, tonight's games, 7 o'clock ESPN, 6-seeded Texas, 1-seeded South Carolina in the Hemisphere Regional Final. Texas, a very not so surprising team in the regional final in terms of a 6th seed. There's some people that may argue that they are a surprise, but they just have a lot of talent, but didn't really put it together until March. South Carolina's 8.5-point favorite, totals 130.5. I'm taking the Longhorns plus the 8.5. I think they can win the game outright. They're plus 330. I'm going to take Texas in the points just to be safe, and I think South Carolina will likely win the game. And 9 o'clock, a great game on ESPN in the Alamo Regional Final. 2-seeded Louisville, 1-seeded Stanford. Exactly what I thought this was going to end up like. Stanford's a 10.5-point favorite, totals 134.5. I'm taking Louisville in the points to keep it close. Stanford's a great team. I just think that Louisville can hang around here a little bit. And I can't believe they're getting double digits, too. So give me Louisville plus the 10.5 against Stanford tonight in the second half of the ESPN doubleheader for tonight. Now I'll move on to the NBA, as we'll go over what was a very busy window from last night and look ahead to a not-so-busy slate for tonight. Wizards over the Pacers, 132-124. Pacers dropped to 21-24. Wizards, 17-28. Russell Westbrook looked like the Russell Westbrook of old. 35 points, 14 boards, 21 assists. Domantas Sabonis had a whopping 35 and 11 for Indiana in defeat. Pelicans over the Celtics, 115-109. Jaylen Brown did not play in this game. Pelicans 21-25. Boston 23-24. Jason Tatum had 34 in defeat with 5 assists. Zion Williamson had 28 for New Orleans in the victory. Nets over the Timberwolves, 112-107. Brooklyn 32-15. Minnesota 11-36. James Harden had 38 points, 11 boards, and 13 assists. And Karl Anthony Towns had 31, 12, and 5 to keep the Timberwolves in that game. Heat over the Knicks, 98-88. The Heat 23-24. Knicks 24-23. As the Heat end their 6-game losing streak. Jimmy Butler was fabulous. 27 points and 6 assists. Julius Randle had 22 for New York. Pistons over the Raptors, 118-104. The Pistons are 13-33. Toronto 18-29. Fred VanVleet, 22 points. Hamidou Diallo had 19-10 for Detroit. Grizzlies over the Rockets, 120-110. Memphis 22-22. Houston 13-33. Jonas Valanciunas led the Grizzlies in scoring with 30-15. Kelly Olynyk had 25-9 for Houston. Mavericks over the Thunder, 127-106. Mavs 24-21. OKC 19-27. Luka Doncic had 25-7. Aleksej Pokusevski had 21 for the Thunder. Kings over the Spurs, 132-115. The Kings are 22-25. San Antonio 23-21. De'Aaron Fox had 24 for Sacramento. DeJounte Murray had 23 for San Antonio. Jazz over the Cavs 114-75. The Jazz 35-11. Cleveland 17-30. Donovan Mitchell had 19 for the Jazz and Colin Sexton had 20 for Cleveland. Warriors over the Bulls 116-102. The Warriors 23-24. Big win for them. Chicago's 19-26. Stephen Curry had 32 points for the Warriors in his first game back from his injury, and Nikola Vucevic had 21-9 for the Bulls. Clippers over the Bucks 129-105. The Clippers 32-16. Milwaukee 29-17. Marcus Morris led the Clippers in scoring with 25 points. Giannis Antetokounmpo had 32 for Milwaukee. 4 games tonight at 7 o'clock. You have the Hornets and the Wizards. We don't know who's playing and who's not playing in this game for some of these guys, but what we do know is that LaMelo Ball ain't playing. I project Washington as a 1-point favorite here, total 229. Meanwhile, FanDuel has this at Charlotte 2. I'm taking the Wizards plus the 2 and plus 110 on the money line. I think Bradley Beal will play. And if not, I think Russell Westbrook can carry them again. I'm going to go with the Wizards. 9 o'clock NBA TV, 76ers Nuggets. I have Pick'em in 225.5. We know Denver 4.5, total 221.5. I'm going to go with the over. Kind of funny that I'm going to go with the over here. So, 221.5 minus 108. 10 o'clock, you have the Magic and the Clippers. I have the Clippers by a whopping 26, total 219.5. Now it's 10.5. I'm laying the 10.5 easy. And the Hawks and the Suns. I have the Suns by 10.5, total 222. Meanwhile, 6.5. We don't have a total yet. I'm laying the 6.5 with the Phoenix Suns. Alrighty then. So there you have it for NBA. And now we'll move on to the NHL as we'll go over the games from last night, and we will look ahead to what should be a busy window for tonight. Flyers over the Sabres 4-3 in overtime on a game winner by Ivan Provorov. Philly 17-13-4. Buffalo 6-23-5. The number 3 started game with the goal and assist. Ivan Provorov, number 2 started game with the goal and assist. Claude Giroux, number 1 started game with the goal and an assist. Sean Couturier. Sabres had a 3-0 lead, but they choked it. So 18 straight defeats for the Buffalo Sabres. Penguins over the Islanders 2-1, so best bet comes through. Pittsburgh 23-11-2. New York 22-10-4. Number 3 started game with the goal, Matt Martin. The number 2 started game with 2 assists, John Moreno. Number 1 started game, 19 saves on 20 shots, Casey DeSmith. But the interesting thing here is that Tristan Jarry started in net. But he got injured during the game. He only made 5 saves. And now DeSmith had to take over here. But still worked out for the Pens. Oilers over the Maple Leafs 3-2 in overtime on a game winner by Darnell Nurse. Edmonton 22-13-1. Toronto 22-10-3. The number 3 started game with the goal and assist, Mitch Marner. Number 2 started game with the goal, Darnell Nurse. Number 1 started game with 29 saves on 31 shots, Mike Smith. Avs over the Ducks 5-2. The Avs 22-8-4. Anaheim 11-20-6. Philip Grabauer got his 100th career win. Mikko Rantanen scored. Tyson Yeo scored. Gabriel Landeskog scored. McKinnon had 2 assists. McCarr 3 assists. Jets over the Flames 5-1. I almost took the Jets as an underdog to win outright yesterday, but I didn't have the balls to pull the trigger. The Jets 22-12-2. Calgary 16-18-3. The number 3 started game with the goal, Andrew Kopp. The number 2 started game with the 2 goals and an assist, Mark Sheffley. Number 1 started game with 3 assists, Nikolaj Ehlers. Golden Knights over the Kings 4-1. Vegas 24-8-1. LA 13-14-6. The number 3 started game with 2 assists, Jonathan Marchessault. The number 2 started game with the goal, Riley Smith. And the number 1 started game with the goal, Alec Martinez. Sharks over the Wild 4-3 in a shootout. The Sharks 14-16-4. Minnesota 21-10-2. The number 3 started the game with 2 assists. Ryan Donato. The number 2 started the game with the goal and assist. Marcus Johansson. Number 1 started the game with 2 goals. And the shootout winner, Erik Karlsson. Now today's window, 7 o'clock, you have the Capitals and the Rangers, a big game from the Garden. The Rangers are slight favorites at -116. The Caps are -102. Over under 6.5. Overs even money. Unders -122. Capitals +1.5 is -275. The Rangers -1.5 is +220. I'm going to go with the Rangers at -116. You can make a case that Capitals should be favored here. They're the better team, but I think this is your classic Vegas nose game, NHL style, so I'm taking the Rangers -116. And heck, I would not be flabbered if they just win it in regulation at +135, but I think that's a better shot at just taking them on the game line at -116. Devils Bruins. The Devils are +176. The Bruins are -210. Over under 5.5. Overs +112. The unders -138. Devils +1.5 is -166. Bruins -1.5 is +138. I'm gonna go here with the Bruins in regulation at -130. Bounce back spot for them after losing to the Devils the other day. So I'm going to go with the Bruins in regulation. Blue Jackets Lightning. The Lightning are -210 or -290. Blue Jackets +235. Over under 5.5. Overs even money. Unders -122. Blue Jackets +1.5 is -122. The Lightning -1.5 is +102. This is a tough call here, but I'm going to go under 5.5 at a juice number at -122. I think this is low scoring. I think Vasilevsky will keep a good job with the puck side of the net, so I'm going to go under at -122, under -1 or 5.5. The Red Wings and the Panthers. The Panthers are huge favorites at -245. The Red Wings are 2-1. Over under 5.5. Overs -112. Unders -110. Red Wings +1.5 is -140. Panthers -1.5 is +116. I'm going to go with the under here. I think this is a low-scoring game. Detroit's weirdly been in a lot of low-scoring games, and plus they're a low-scoring team, period. So I'm going to go under 5.5. Oilers, Canadians. The Habs are -138. The Oilers are +118. Over under 6.5. Overs -104. Unders -118. Oilers +1.5 is -240. Habs -1.5 is +195. I'm going to go with the under here. Oilers have been a weirdly low-scoring team, and they haven't getting good goaltending lately, so I'm going to go under 6.5 and plus Carey Price on the other side as well. 7:30 NBCSN, you have the Canes and the Blackhawks. The Hurricanes are -168. The Blackhawks are +142. Over under 5.5. Overs -132. Unders +108. The Hurricanes -1.5 is +164. The Blackhawks +1.5 is -200. I'm going to go with the Chicago Blackhawks to win straight up at +142. They've been playing great hockey lately. I'm going to take them to win this game straight up. And 8 o'clock, you have the Stars and the Preds. The Stars are -122. The Preds are +104. Over under 5.5. Overs +112. Unders -138. The Stars -1.5 is +240. The Preds +1.5 is -300. I'm going to take the Predators plus the -104. JC Saros is hurt, but Pekka Rinne is still solid. They've been in a lot of low-scoring games, and I think that they have shut the win here, so I'm going to go with the Preds +104 on the money line against Dallas here. All right, now I'm going to go over MLB spring training results from yesterday and look ahead to today, which is the last set of MLB spring training games. Tigers over the Yankees 5-2. Tigers 13-11. Yankees 14-12 as they finish spring training. Getting the win here for Detroit was Jose Urena. The loss, Domingo Germán. Giancarlo Stanton had an RBI double in this game. Miguel Cabrera turned back the clock and hit a home run. A 3-run shot for the Tigers in this game. Mets and Cardinals ended in a 3-3 tie. Nolan Arenado homered for the Cardinals. Taijuan Walker started for the Mets, and Adam Wainwright started for the Cardinals. Reds over the Braves 4-0 in 7. The Red Sox 16-10. Atlanta 14-13. Tanner Houck the win, Ian Anderson the loss. Alicia Hernandez, JD Martinez, and Marwin Gonzalez all homered for Boston. Astros and Nationals tied at 2. Jacob Orizzi pitched 3 innings, scoreless for the Astros, and Stephen Strasburg pitched 5 2/3 for Washington. Twins over the Pirates 5-3. Eric Gonzalez homer in this game for Pittsburgh. The Rays over the Orioles 8-3. Rich Hill the win for the Rays. Yoshihito Tsutsugo homered for the Rays. Austin Hayes homered for the Orioles. William Thomas homered twice for the Rays. River Reese homered for the Orioles. Blue Jays over the Phillies 13-7. Blue Jays finished the spring at 16-9. Philly 12-15. The following players homered for their respective teams: Rowdy Tellez, Bryce Harper, Bryson Stott. Cubs over the Diamondbacks 7-1. Zach Davies the win, Caleb Smith the loss. Wilson Contreras homered for the Cubs. Christian Walker homered for the D-backs. And Nico Horner homered for the Cubs. Royals over the Indians 5-4. Greg Holland the win, Cal Quantrill the loss. Carlos Santana, Hunter Dozier, and Ryan O'Hearn all homered for the Royals. Mariners and Reds tied at 5. Caleb Flexen pitched for Seattle, and Brandon Finnegan was the Reds opener. Giants over the A's 7-2. Logan Webb the win, Sean Manaea the loss. Rockies over the Padres 10-2. Ryan Rollison the win, Chris Paddock the loss. Brewers over the Rangers 4-0. Adrian Hauser the win, Jordan Lyles the loss. And the Dodgers over the Angels 10-2. Julio Urias the win, Shohei Ohtani the loss. Chris Taylor, Corey Seager, Will Smith, Cody Bellinger all homered for the Dodgers, and Phil Gosselin homered for LA Angels. All right, the last set of spring games: 12 o'clock, Pirates Twins, 12:30, Rays Tigers, 1 o'clock, Braves Red Sox, 2 o'clock, Brewers Rangers, 3 o'clock, White Sox Rockies, 3:30, Indians Diamondbacks, and 10 o'clock, the Angels and the Dodgers. All right, now I'm going to do my center fielder rankings as the season is 2 days away. So, without further ado, here we go. 30, Shogo Akiyama, Reds. 29, Miles Straw, Astros. 28, Anthony Alford, Pirates. 27, Garrett Hampson, Rockies. 26, Leody Tavares, Rangers. 25, Cedric Mullins, Orioles. 24, Jacoby Jones, Tigers. 23, Oscar Mercado, Indians. 22, Michael A. Taylor, Nationals. 21, Scott Kingery, Phillies. 20, Harrison Bader, Cardinals. 19, Ian Happ, Cubs. 18, Victor Robles, Nationals. 17, Brandon Nimmo, Mets. 16, Kevin Kiermaier, Rays. 15, Alex Verdugo, Red Sox. 14, Mauricio Dubon, Giants. 13, Trent Grisham, Padres. 12, Byron Buxton, Twins. 11, Kyle Lewis, Mariners. 10, Christian Pache, Braves. 9, Lorenzo Cain, Brewers. 8, Starling Marte, Marlins. 7, Aaron Hicks, Yankees. 6, Ramon Laureano, Athletics. 5, Ketel Marte, Diamondbacks. 4, Luis Robert, White Sox. 3, George Springer, Blue Jays. 2, Cody Bellinger, Dodgers. And number 1, if there wasn't any doubt, Mike Trout, Los Angeles Angels. of Anaheim. Best player in the game. He's still the best outfielder in the game. Best center fielder in the game, let alone. Cody Bellinger is easy for number 2. The 3 spot to me had to go to Springer. Yes, he just got paid handsomely, but he's still awesome, and it's remained to be seen whether he's worth the contract or not. Luis Robert, to me, took the 4 spot. Here's a rookie sensation last year on the White Sox, and I think he's only going to get better. Ketel Marte, he's just awesome. I think the most underrated player in baseball, if you ask me. Laureano's a stud, both offensively and defensively. Aaron Hicks doesn't stay healthy all the time, but when healthy, he's a great player for the Yankees. Starling Marte, good veteran guy. Lorenzo Cain, I think, could have a bounce-back season on the Brewers. And Christian Pache showed me a lot of tangibles in the postseason a year ago for Atlanta, and I think he'll be awesome for them this year. And Kyle Lewis, you can make a case for the 10 spot. But I decided to go with Pache because I think Pache could really break out this year and challenge for the Rookie of the Year in the National League. But that was a tough call between Lewis and Pache for the 10 spot. And now my right field rankings as we head closer to the start of the new Major League Baseball season. Number 30, Manuel Margot, Rays. 29, Kyle Tucker, Astros. 28, Anthony Santander, Orioles. 27, Josh Naylor, Indians. 26, Nomar Mazara, Tigers. 25, Hunter Renfroe, Red Sox. 24, Dexter Fowler, Angels. 23, Jason Hayward, Cubs. 22, Jackie Bradley Jr., Brewers. 21, Gregory Polanco, Pirates. 20, Will Myers, Padres. 19, Adam Duvall, Marlins. 18, Mitch Haniger, Mariners. 17, Teoscar Hernandez, Blue Jays. 16, Stephen Piscotty, Athletics. 15, Cole Calhoun, Diamondbacks. 14, Dylan Carlson, Cardinals. 13, Adam Eaton, White Sox. 12, Mike Yastrzemski, Giants. 11, Nicholas Castellanos, Reds. 10, Michael Conforto, Mets. 9, Max Kepler, Twins. 8, Joey Gallo, Rangers. 7, Charlie Blackmon, Rockies. 6, Whit Merrifield, Royals. 5, Bryce Harper, Nationals. 4, Aaron Judge, Yankees. 3, Ronald Acuna Jr., Braves. 2, Juan Soto, Nationals. And number 1, Mookie Betts, Los Angeles Dodgers. 1 through 5 is clearly the best 5 right fielders in the league, and you can't argue with me otherwise. But I went with Betts 1 because he's on the team that just won the World Series, and I think that he has tremendous upside and a high floor and never gets hurt. Juan Soto, I think, is a superstar in the making, could supplant Mookie Betts as the top right fielder in the game by the end of the year. Ronald Acuna, to me, is 3, although you could argue he's very talented, but he just has some issues that he has to take care of from a maturity standpoint. Aaron Judge, he's number 4 because he's never healthy, but upside for him is a top 3 player in all of Major League Baseball, arguably the 3rd best player in baseball behind Betts and Trout when healthy. And Bryce Harper, 5. Same issue with Judge. He gets injured often. But the issue with Harper more so than Judge is that Harper just seems to have not perfect numbers like he was expected of him, as he really came up super hyped, but never really had a season better than that 2015 MVP year with Washington. Merrifield and Blackmon, to me, was a toss-up. Went with Merrifield because he is on a team that I think will be a little bit better than Blackmon's. And plus, Blackmon, when it comes down to, for me, plays most of his games in Coors Field. Joey Gallo and me gets the 8th spot. He's just a homer machine. He finally hit for some average this past year. But I don't know if that's sustainable. Maxie Kepler is awesome. I think he's one of the more underrated players in all of baseball. And Conforto, I think, will have a good year on the Mets this season. And then there's more of a steadier group, and then it drops off after Piscotty and Teoscar Hernandez, and it just drops in terms of right fielders. Alrighty then. Now we'll do the latest news and notes for the day. There's not that much stuff, but we'll just talk about whatever I have. NFL draft-related news, Dylan Moses, the linebacker, says he played most of the season with the torn meniscus and won't take part in physical drills in Alabama's pro day. Moses is a really special player. I think that he's going to be a star in the NFL, but luckily he had his surgery. I can't believe he played with the torn meniscus. That's wild. And they won the title, too, with a torn meniscus version of Dylan Moses, which is wild. Hopefully he gets well soon, and hopefully the recovery goes well. This I find interesting, especially coming after their defeat with the controversial finish. Kim Mulkey, the coach of Baylor, says that the NCAA should stop testing, as she says, dump the COVID testing for women's and men's Final Four. To me, I kind of disagree with her. I think that they should still test because COVID's still out there, and you never know if somebody could be asymptomatic. So that's why I think they should still have testing for the time being. We talked about the controversial finish to UConn Baylor, as LeBron, Megan Rapinoe, and Swin Cash take to Twitter about the non-call in the final seconds of that game. You could argue Baylor deserved better, and UConn took advantage of that call, as we talked about earlier. But that non-call got everybody fired up. College hoops news. Jaden Springer is turning pro after one season at Tennessee, and he is the 27th ranked prospect for ESPN for the draft. So that's a loss for Tennessee, as Springer is entering the draft. I don't know if he'll be a late first rounder or an early second rounder, but ESPN suggests that he should be a late first. The Mets have an offer on the table for Francisco Lindor, 10 years, $325 million. And Lindor wants 12 years, $385 million. And the Mets considered their 3 for $25 best and final offer. And we'll see where this goes. This could end up turning ugly if Lindor doesn't sign an extension. And this could derail them throughout the season. Anthony Rizzo and the Cubs end contract talks, as the Cubs first baseman has told his agents to stop contract negotiations. And Rizzo said, "We've had enough time to talk." So I don't know what he means by that. I don't know if Rizzo means he found something he liked or he's not getting what he wants. So this could be another potential distraction for a National League club, and this time obviously a worser club in the Cubs rather than the Mets. We talked about it earlier. Stephen Curry returned last night. NBA heartwarming news, as Karl Anthony Towns Sr. attends his first game since his wife and Karl Anthony Towns Jr.'s mom, Jacqueline, passed from COVID-19 complications. So that is a great story to see that Karl Sr. is around again watching his son play ball. Something I forgot to talk about yesterday, but I talked about it briefly in the hockey segment yesterday, that Panthers defenseman Aaron Ekblad out 12 weeks as he underwent the surgery on his leg in the game against the Stars on Sunday. That was really scary to see. And hopefully he gets well soon. Alicia Clark out for the 2021 season with a foot injury. That is a loss for the Mystics for the WNBA. WNBA draft-related news. Michaela Onyenwere announces that she'll declare for the 2021 draft. Great talented player from UCLA. And she will probably be a first-round pick. The New York Jets are opening to keep Sam Darnold around and drafting a quarterback with the number 2 pick. That's wild. I think that they should trade Darnold and get what you can get for him and go with the quarterback at 2. Or you keep Sam Darnold and trade down and get a similar haul to what the Dolphins got for that 3 pick. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Jets do. We talked about how the league is going 17 games. Now there's talks about a Joe Burrow-Jamar Chase reunion. And there's a leak out that Philly traded out of 6 because they believe there is a pretty good chance since he drafts Jamar Chase 5th. That's interesting. We'll see about that. And I think it is realistic now because obviously Dolphins trade back, Niners move up, and everyone thinks that the Niners are going to draft a quarterback with the 3rd pick. And the betting favorite for number 3 overall is Mac Jones, which is wild. But as we know, that this is lying season, and I'm convinced that the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers in 2021 will either be Jimmy Garoppolo or Deshaun Watson, not a rookie. And I think the 49ers could go with, amazingly enough, Jamar Chase or Penny Sewell with the number 3 overall pick. Or they flip it to Houston for Deshaun Watson, which I think is the most likely thing that they're going to do. Although they're keeping their mouths shut for sure. But you're not hearing Watson buzz right now because of the legal stuff. Put the legal stuff aside. Deshaun Watson will turn the San Francisco 49ers into a Super Bowl contender if he were to be traded there. But we'll see what happens ultimately. And there's one more thing I want to touch on is the NBA draft will be held on July 29th. It was announced yesterday. So that is interesting news to say the least. So now teams that are out of playoff contention can study the draft, and they have 5 months or 4 months to do so. And the lottery will be held on June 22nd, and the combine will be from the 21st to the 27th. So things are starting to feel a little bit normal in NBA world, except that the lottery and the draft are pushed back a month. But the combine will be the combine again. So that's good. Alrighty. That's it for the news and notes today. And last but not least, my best bet of the day. brought to you by FanDuel. Hard call today. There's not much stuff that I like, and I felt the same way yesterday, so I went with the Flyer and took the Penguins as a pick'em yesterday against the Islanders, and the Penguins wound up closing as a favorite in that game. But for my best bet, I'm going to lay it with the Clippers, 10.5 against Orlando. I'm going to lay a unit on it. Obviously, Orlando traded pretty much their team away, so they're obviously in tank mode now, so I'm going to lay the double digits with the Clippers against the Orlando Magic. So that's it for the show today. I'll be back tomorrow recapping the final MLB spring training games and recapping the NBA, NHL, and obviously the Elite Eight games for today. And then we'll look ahead to tomorrow's NBA and NHL games, latest news and notes. Masked Singer tomorrow as well, so we'll preview tomorrow night's episode. I'm going to have pitcher rankings tomorrow, and I'm going to break it up into starting pitchers and closers. So that's going to be very interesting as well, and obviously my best bet for tomorrow as well. Hope you guys have a great day, everybody.